Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It's time for a Multiversus update. If you haven't been keeping up with Multiversus, honestly can't blame you. The patches have been a bit of a slow ride. We always got to remember that this team developing this game only has 11 people. So everything they accomplish is huge. This game has a lot of love put into it, a lot of time and effort. So if delays happen, I'm a lot more forgiving with this. Anyway, about today's update. Gizmo has been added to the game, and he's a very interesting character. Besides being the smallest character in this game so far, he's got a great support kit. He's got a lot of moves. He's got really surprising air recovery. And today I want to go ahead and show you his kit, show you what I think are his most important techniques. Then we're going to go through the patch notes really quick, just talk about the most important things, because this patch is huge. This patch has significantly changed the game. So let's not delay. Let's get right on into this video. If you enjoy it, be sure to like and subscribe and comment down below what you think of Gizmo as a character. If you've been playing Multiversus, you think you're going to switch to him? You think you're going to try him out? Do you think he's even good? Let me know. So we're looking at Gizmo in the custom lab, and this is a special costume right here. I try to use the special costumes when I do these videos, just give you guys a little more flair. So to start, Gizmo does actually have an effect that he can project. He has a buff, and it also acts as a debuff on his enemies. If you hold your neutral special, he will start to sing, and though it looks like Garnet's rhythm, it's not Garnet's rhythm. Your teammates can collect these notes, and when they collect these notes and do a dodge, their dodge will actually damage an opponent when they go through it. So you buff your teammates' dodge, which is incredible. That's an incredible buff. I honestly don't think Player First Games knows how game-breaking that buff is going to be. Gizmo is going to become an essential pick because of that. However, if your opponents get hit by your notes, you see how he's getting the debuff? This debuff, while doing a little bit of damage, it's actually going to stop him from using his cooldowns. This makes Gizmo the bane of Bugs Bunny teams. It makes him the bane of any cooldown-based team. Velma's, I'm sorry Velma, but Gizmo's coming for your ass. His primary projectile is his normal. He'll charge an arrow, and at the peak of the arrow, it actually ignites. It lights on fire, which obviously gives your enemies the ignited effect, doing damage over time. But what's really cool about this is you can charge it, cancel out of it with a dodge, and you hold the flaming arrow. And all I need to do, bam, just tap the X. And there he goes. Really great tech. Dodge canceling is a fundamental part of this game. If you have not learned your dodge canceling, if you haven't learned your dodge jumps, those are the fundamentals of this game. Those are what separate it from Smash. If you're playing it like Smash and you're not playing it like an air dash game, kind of like Marvel vs. Capcom, you're kind of playing this game a little bit wrong. Another move that Gizmo has that is definitely more about zone control is his up normal. He throws out these popcorn balls, which will damage an enemy a little bit, but the real thing is if you hit him with a fire arrow, they send a cone towards your enemy. A cone of fire. So you can use these to ledge guard pretty easily because you can hit them in the air, you know? And the whole thing about this arrow is you can actually aim it. If you're charging it, you can aim it up or aim it down. I don't think you can aim the quick arrow, but this you can use, you can jump with it. It's very similar to Rhine Dog's electrical shock in that sense. If you get good with that arrow, it may become your primary form of edge guarding, but that's not his only tool. Gizmo actually has a pretty good down spike. He's got his double stomp from his normal, and then he's also got a bounce. The great thing about this is when you hit them with this, it bounces them down, and you bounce out of it. That's not me jumping. That's just Gizmo's natural movement right there. So he has an amazing down spike, which gives him great recovery. And Gizmo has a little hidden bonus that you can't tell because I'm in 1v1s. He can grab onto the back of his friends, of his teammates, and ride them. So, say you got your guy going out here, right? You can ride on his back and take extra jumps from his back to keep chasing them all the way to the edge and then hit him with that down spike. You can go so much farther with this little gremlin guy, and it may sacrifice you if you end up that far, because you are kind of short. But you have great recovery options. That's the thing, he just has great recovery options if he's fighting off the edge. Now here's a rather interesting technique. If you do his side special, he'll hop in a little toy car. And the toy car does a little bit of damage. It's kind of got Plumbus features, it doesn't weaken you, but you're scrubbing the ground. And he can leap out of it, and your own friends, your own teammates can jump in the car and do the same thing. And you can't see this now, but looking at his move list, when he does do the attack where he grabs onto his ally's back, he can dash from them to the summoned car. So this car actually acts as a home base. However, if he enters the car using that up special, it will be destroyed. It will explode shortly thereafter. I don't think I can actually recreate it because I don't have a teammate here, but we will see this in matches. My first impressions is that Gizmo has unnatural air recovery. Him being so small is going to make him a really hard target to hit. He's got decent projectile game, and he's got good support potential. This attack right here, these musical notes, these are the real game changer. These are what's going to make him powerful because he invalidates all cooldown based characters. Now I want to go ahead and look at some of the combos that some of the more pro level players have discovered. This character only came out today, so we're still uncovering the tech, but it's fundamental. You want to try to find everyone's longest combo chain because it's really about building them up to knock back damage and then hitting them with your big attacks. Okay, so if we're watching this, he hits him with an up spike. He goes from auto combo, cancels with this little down piano, right? He goes from auto combo to down piano, spikes him up, hits his up air, and then the double down, and then he hits the double down stomp. We saw that. Smacks him out. He probably could do a bounce here. I think what he's missing is that he does double down, does the bounce butt, like the butt bounce, and goes into another attack from the top. I don't know if that's a true combo, but I feel like that's the best way to chase right there. All right, now we're going to look at Super Bandman's combo. Super Bandman's been pretty successful in tournaments.
They're like taking it time by time, pretty much, is how it looks.
See, this is what I'm saying. This is what the other guy was saying. Look how you can bounce from the stomp, stomp, butt stomp, like stomp up, stomp up. If he gets a little too far, butt bounce for distance. Yep, look at that. Butt bounce, keep him in.
I love this card. They're like taking it.
That's very nice. That's good. That's good. So as we're seeing, he really is an aerial combo based guy. He's gonna It's kind of funny how all these characters, these support characters, have the same kind of combo bridges. Down airs to up airs to cancels to down airs to up airs. It's kind of ridiculous to see. Alright, so now that we've seen the potential of Gizmo, let's get into these patch notes real quick. I'm going to keep this incredibly brief because these are very long patch notes, but you only need to know the important stuff. The most important thing is that there's been a hitbox, hurtbox change in this patch. Major. This patch includes our hitbox, hurtbox system overhaul. Our goal with this update is to more tightly tie hitboxes and hurtboxes to our characters. We will be keeping an eye on how this update affects the player experience. This will be a process for us, but it gives us a foundation to permanently fix issues going forward. So as you can see with Wonder Woman, she had a very generic hitbox, a bit outside of her shoulder, bit outside of her character model, in between her legs, but right here it's a lot tighter to her body. Especially with someone like Wonder Woman, that's going to make a big difference because she's a slim character. In her animations, wow, this is a big one. In her animations, you could see how dramatic her hurtbox was. It was way above her head, way below her legs. Now it's a lot tighter. This game is going to feel a lot different just because of this change. There's also been hitbox updates on most attacks, but they don't have the room to really demonstrate that. So honestly, if you know your character's combos, you're going to be relearning them a bit. This patch also includes the first part of our projectile systems update. Multiverse is a game that thrives on interesting interactions between fighters and between projectiles, but a player shouldn't need an encyclopedic knowledge of every attack in the game. Our goal with this update is to standardize global projectile behaviors. All projectiles, when they clank, will destroy each other. That's good. Projectile cancels out projectile. Introduced heavy projectiles, which will break projectiles and only clank with other heavy projectiles. So now they just added a new class of projectiles. Berries and buffs that block projectiles more consistently block them all. Projectiles that explode no longer hit fighters when blocked. That's a big one. Adjusted characters' vertical offset so the character's feet don't clip through the floor as much. This is a big one. Sometimes you'll down spike someone and they'll just go straight into the map. That may not be a thing anymore after this update. Wall floor ceiling bounce no longer restore dodge meter. I wasn't aware this is how it worked, but that seems kind of broken. I'm glad it's not like this anymore. This will probably limit the dodging in this game quite a bit, honestly. If you have someone on the ropes and they're bouncing, they really shouldn't get back dodges for that. With the perk nerfs, the big one I think is Ice to Beat You. they've nerfed this quite a bit. Projectiles will only apply ice debuff to fighters that are not already debuffed. So it would only do 1 stack of ice anyway, but now it doesn't even reset the ice effect. You have to wait for the ice effect to run out to hit him with this. That perk going into the I'll Take That have been drastically reduced. On-stack cooldown refund decreased from 0.5 to 0.25. So the whole strat was that you'd use ice to beat you to apply the frozen, and then use I'll Take That to gain back your cooldowns, since it gives you cooldown restore for hitting debuffed enemies. But they've totally nerfed this whole loop. They've kind of nerfed I'll Take That into being useless, actually. I understand that you're trying to fight the cooldown meta, but they've made these perks absolutely freaking useless. I don't know who's going to be picking them anymore. There's so much more efficient ways to get your cooldown back. Make It Rain Dog has lowered projectile speed buff. That's kind of huge. Some of the projectiles were going incredibly fast. Couple of map changes on Tree Fort. Trampoline tree health reduced to 15. That's good. It'll break easier. Added a minor floating platform boats versions of Cromulons. This will give it a lot more diversity in play. Cromulons are generally bouncing people between the speakers until you can just get those knockouts. It's a kind of static map. Now, getting to the character buffs, Arya has one that really matters. This is for all assassins, so this includes Harley Quinn and Finn. They've removed the additional damage buff taken, so assassins take no more damage than any other character. This was initially done to balance their damage potential. Apparently in the alpha of this game, it was all assassins. Assassins are running havoc across the entire roster, and it may end up going back to that again. I feel like this 5% damage buff was perfect. With bugs, his rocket is classified as a heavy projectile, and it will break armor. Wow, that's pretty big. His safe has also been classified as a heavy projectile. Barriers and buffs that block projectiles now deactivate the safe hitbox until the safe is hit again. So he'll kind of phase through them without hitting things. Air down attack, recovery, land cancel, delayed 2 frames. Up air attack, hitbox, active frames reduced. This is just to stop his looping. They're trying really hard to stop Bugs Bunny's down air, up air looping. His weight has also been lowered. That's a big one. He's going to be a little bit easier to confirm the kill on. On to Finn, besides having the assassin passive, he's increased his starting gold back to 200, which means he gets 2 crystals or he gets a speed buff instantly. Now with Garnet, when she bubbles a projectile, the projectile will not be able to hit allies or herself until the bubble expires. So I guess she stalls it with her singing. Her projectile speed has been increased by 200, and the recovery frames have been decreased. So her rocket punch is even better. Her air side attack has also been buffed to chain more cleanly into the second one. She just got buffs. She's a little bit better. Garnet's consistently going up. Harley Quinn, besides the assassin passive, now has higher movement speed. Just great. I've been playing Harley Quinn lately. She's a damn good character. Iron Giant once again reduced. His rage mode gray health went down to 15. His air ups attack is reduced in damage, and his air ground neutral specials are now static cooldowns. So static cooldowns are not affected by cooldown reduction perks. That's a new feature. I don't know what this is. They've really reduced cooldown potential, and now they're making static cooldowns, which are immune to perks. I feel like this is kind of betraying their own style of the game. I know Iron Giant's dominant, but I feel like people just kind of have to learn this matchup. At a certain point, they're going to nerf him into uselessness. He's a huge character who takes a lot of damage. It's a balancing act, even keeping him relevant to the meta. One negative change could send him spiraling into the abyss. Now with Jake, just some general nerfs to all of his attacks. Most notably, if he eats multiple opponents, he will spit them all out in the first spit, and the weaken stack has been reduced. LeBron has gotten some big buffs. With his basketball, enemies can no longer hit the basketball to reflect it, and will always bounce back when blocked by projectile blocking effects. So LeBron has great ball control. His projectile speed has been increased, the hitbox active frame has been increased for some of his basketball attacks. He's just a little bit better. Morty's main perk has changed. It's extra flea juice. It now cleans up Tom and Jerry's mousetrap and cleans up Garnet's electrical zone. I don't understand why the Plumbus doesn't do this anyway. This seems like a waste of a perk slot. The Plumbus should just clean stuff. The fact that you have to get a perk to make it clean extra stuff is just redundant. It's absolutely redundant. I hope they just eliminate this perk entirely. On his blaster, ammo cooldown reduced by 1 second. His knockdown has been increased. On his portal, it has been changed so it only shows for the Morty player in online matches. This is a good change. You would portal places and people were just able to chase you because everyone saw exactly what you were doing. kind of ruining the point of a portal. And on his ground side attack, the full jab combo now connects more reliably. I don't know if they increased his hit frames or increased his speed, but hitting the hammer at the end of that combo was virtually impossible on any good player. With Reindog, enemies can no longer hit the spit projectile, and the vacuum knockback from his up air is better. He's going to be a lot better at spiking people up. With Shaggy, his super sandwich is now classified as a heavy projectile. You got to be in rage form to do that. On his ground down attack, his stomp, the armor has been removed, and the knockback angle pushes you more horizontal. People aren't going to be using this to spike anymore. They're going to have to actually go for air spikes. His weight was lowered by 8. Big. For some reason, Shaggy was kind of on the heavy side. A bit hard to knock out for the amount of power he had. With Steven Universe, just a minor buff. He can't infinitely lay shields while in the air. Now, Superman's flight has received a bit of a rework. When he does his air up special, the fly up, there's a bit more whiff recovery for other people, and there's a later startup time on the active frames. On the side flying, his speed has been reduced so that he won't carry enemies as far. With his lasers, it now has an ammo cooldown. He spawns with 2 ammo, and 1 new ammo returns every 8 seconds. This is big. I feel like his laser vision was really oppressive. It was probably his most oppressive technique if someone was just spamming lasers. Taz got some big buffs. With his Iron Stomach perk, the anvil is now classified as a heavy projectile, but with his Dogpile perk, Taz's ally can only enter the Dogpile 1 time per use. So a bit of a balancing act. With this passive, this is kind of a debuff. His Salt and Pepper has been increased to 18 from 16, so you have to get more counts of the debuff to turn him into the turkey. However, Chicken Speed has been reduced, Max health has been reduced, and the duration has been reduced as well. Sad. You'll probably get more knockouts on the chickens, honestly, with the way this is. Now, Taz's projectile eating attack, it can actually eat the heavy projectiles. That's big. So his minor tornado, when his big one is on cooldown, has been increased in duration, so he'll do it a little bit longer, about half a second. And he's gotten some frame buffs on his regular attacks. I've seen people doing some good combos with Taz now. Taz might actually be viable again. With Tom Jerry perk change, split dynamite sticks now detonate when they hit terrain. This means they won't fall on the floor and act as traps anymore. Good stuff. Jerry himself has been classified as a heavy projectile. It's going to make him a lot harder to kill when he's flying. It no longer refreshes his cooldown if he dies when attached to an ally. That's good. And Cork ammo reduced to 2 from 3. And overall, these last few things are really just nerfing his loop combo, his down air, up air stuff. Velma has a funny passive change. Instead of calling the police car when she gets all her evidence, now she's going to call the mystery machine to pick up your enemies. The police car, I guess, didn't really make sense with her lore. It was a little strange. I prefer the mystery machine a lot. Her air up special no longer applies weakened stacks. She has a lot of effects. I'm gonna miss that attack, but she already does a lot. Velma is no longer healed when she hits an ally with a speech bubble. That's good. And her movement speed has been reduced. So a general all-around nerf for Velma. And now we're at Wonder Woman. Her lasso is no longer classified as a projectile, so it gets none of the buffs, none of the debuffs, but I think that also means it probably can't be blocked by projectile blocking things. Her ground down attack no longer breaks projectiles while charging. I don't know why this has changed. If she stands there and does a bubble, it's more about her controlling a zone. I feel like it should maybe not break them, but stop them. We'll see how this works out. Her movement speed has been reduced just a tiny bit, as well as her weight. Wonder Woman was a freaking powerhouse after the last patch, so these 2 changes, they're really good to bring her down to parity. Wonder Woman is one of the best characters in the game. She's one of the best support characters in the game. She's really good where she is right now, honestly. I feel like they want to balance the game around Shaggy, but I feel like balancing the game around Wonder Woman is much more healthy for the future of this game. Alright everyone, well that's it for the Gizmo update. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. Stop into my stream if you see that I'm live. I'm going to be testing Gizmo out, putting him through the ringer. I really want to see how good this character is. I feel like he has great potential. When it came to Morty, there was a couple fundamental flaws. He didn't really have the power of frames to back him up. That may change as the weeks go on. But I think Gizmo is really strong already. We'll see what the future holds for this character. Peace and love, everyone.
Like what you see? Stop into the stream sometime. Be sure to like and subscribe to never miss a video.